Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours. Welcome to another exciting installment of Vampire the Requiem. Requiem for London. In other news, the Luftwaffe has proceeded to bomb. Sorry, I'm going to stop now. Whenever I say that, I just go into my 1920s narration voice. Good evening. This scene is going to take place as Alexander Hartwell of the Ordo Dracul makes his way through the city of London streets. He walks calmly under the effects of his obfuscate, looking like just another person, nondescript and not very important, towards London Bridge. He has a briefcase in his hand. He has his arm, one of his arms tucked behind his back. He's going to meet a business contact whom has been recommended to him by his fellows in the Ordo. And that is where we set our scene.
It's just along Westminster Bridge. It is, you are given a time fairly late at night, long after the sun is set. Well after traffic is dispersed into a crawl. You've been told to meet your contact alongside the middle of a bridge. And as you walk along, you get the ever lovely view of the River Thames and the Houses of Parliament just right next to you. And the now... I don't know. Green bridge as the metal has oxidized over the years. And it doesn't take you very long for actually, before I do make this statement, would you like to roll me your blood potency plus your Auspex?
More than life itself.
Excellent.
Can I spend a willpower on this roll?
Yes, you can.
So his aspect is that, plus that, plus that. 3 successes.
Nice. Alrighty. Oh, okay. So, as you look around, you can see, as you actually move to the center of the bridge, you actually see the individual in question who is just waiting there for you, breaking past his obfuscate, but you understand that only you can see him. There's a rather grotesque-looking figure, Nosferatu, either of some age or just apparently very unlucky. Pointed ears and a very craggy face. A lot of hair on him. His face almost looks like cheap ceramic laid over his skull.
Seeing him, I'm going to spend the necessary blood point to bring me down to 6 to activate Ujet, if that is okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing his sunglasses. So this guy is not a Strix, I take it?
You can see spirits you wouldn't see if they were inside, if they were possessing somebody. What you'd need to do is you'd need to I'll double check the rules of the power real quick actually, but if they're inside of a body, I don't think you would see them. What you could do is you could use Auspex to ask the question, are they possessed?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to double check if it allows you to see possessed spirits.
This allows her to see spirits, Strix, angels, and other immaterial beings of the scene. This includes beings in Twilight. While she has this sense so enhanced, she is immune to Strix possession. So, I guess that's a call, really.
Yeah. To be fair, Auspex already allows you to detect possession, so I don't think it would, just based on the fact that you can already do that. It would be a different power, though. So if you don't want to activate your jet and want to activate Auspex 2 instead, you can just do that.
Well, I'm going to do both. Because bear in mind, like, if a maquette who's not who's not suspicious as fuck is a dead maquette. So I am going to activate Auspex 2. Which is oddly enough the exact same dice pool. Okay, so I can ask 4 questions about this guy.
Okay.
Is this individual currently possessed?
No.
Okay.
Your beast detects no foreign presence within this individual.
What is this individual's humanity?
Your beast weighs up this individual, and it finds you receive a vision of scales against a black backdrop, a feather and a heart, perfectly balanced. Statistically, they're humanity 5.
Neat. What approach, aka how I present myself, is this individual going to look upon most favorably?
It's funny how this power is literally exactly the same as Cold Read, but better.
You can't avoid me, Bishop. I'm coming for you.
But this power cannot tell the future, but it can tell you what sort of manner they would prefer. So perhaps you don't receive a vision this time. You simply receive a manner of sensation from your beast that concludes that formality and cooperation would be the best approach.
And last but not least, because I have 4 questions. What would be a good last question? What is this character's proudest scientific achievement?
Scientific achievement?
I'm assuming he's a scientist, or they would have sent some. No, what is this person's proudest achievement? We won't go with scientific. We'll just go with achievement.
One second. The siring of this individual, whom you see take form from the mist of this Nosferatu's thoughts.
Fuck that guy. Sorry. Alexander stops on the bridge And from the normal passers-by, if anyone was watching, he tips his hat to something that's not to someone who's not there.
Hmm. He looks at you and sort of nods in acknowledgement, gives a very slight bow. It's less of a bow, more than that his back bends ever so slightly to accompany the nod. Dr. Hartwell, I presume.
Pleasure. He will extend his hand.
Will shake your hand. When he does, you feel his obfuscation wash over you.
I see that we had to have a very private chat.
There's your jogger.
Understandable. My apologies. I was never informed as to your name, sir, so you have me at a slight disadvantage.
Ah. My name is Yaxley Swindle.
Of House Blacktomb, I take it.
Yes.
Delightful.
Can roll me with sympathy if you like.
What is Alexander scored in those things? I know he has dice, but I don't know how many he has. His wits is 2. What is his empathy? I know I took empathy. Wow, he has 3 empathy. Oh, crap. He actually has dice.
Actually, Swindle is also a name I won't have you roll politics. It's a name you recognize due to their status in the city. They hold no position, but they're relatively well respected.
That is 2 successes on the wits empathy.
Okay. Okay. No. It's statement comes across as genuine.
What was his second name, sorry?
Yaxley Swindle.
A pleasure to meet you, Mr. Swindle. Is it Mr. or is there some other epithet you would prefer?
Just Mr. Swindle.
That's quite fine.
I carry no title with me. Simply am as I am.
Quite so.
I heard from my colleagues of Anildo that you wish to discuss a matter with the princedom of the domain.
It seems to me that everyone's currently tearing themselves apart for that particular title. But yes, I sought a meeting with the true prince of the domain, or rather his representatives, and here we stand, rather. Actually, he will sit on, like, the railing. Just kind of hop up. I'll be blunt, Mr. Swinburne. The simple fact of the matter is that I ultimately believe in balance on a rather macro scale. Your Prince Graves? His name's Graves, isn't it? Yeah.
Prince Cedric Graves.
Maintained order here, and now the fact is that there is chaos. I can even sense the palpable sense of chaos that the city has created. It is unpleasant. So, I am here in order to do my part, as it were, to ensure that the Invictus and the Princedom survive these trying nights.
Well, it would most certainly be welcomed. The Invictus and the Order had an outstanding relationship for the past couple of decades. It would be a relief to see such a relationship continue.
Quite so. He contemplates for a few moments, and he'll say, I'm led to understand that during the last conflict, several of our more creative individuals fashioned soldiers for your princedom.
Of a sort, yes.
He nods. You see, I currently unfortunately lack the necessary resources, scientific personnel, monetary, etc. However, I'm willing to make a deal with you on two fronts, Mr. Swindle. One, I am capable within the next 2 to 3 months of providing you with individuals who make berserkers look like Tinker Toys.
Within his sunken eye sockets, you see him measure your statement quite carefully.
Perhaps you'd like a demonstration.
Are you going to use the fire thing?
Possibly. It depends on what he answers.
My only statement is just be careful because you're both kindred.
Oh yeah, he's not going to do it. Like if he did it, he would because I've read the power. I can summon it wherever I damn well want within my. I think it's within my line of sight, so it can be far off and distant. Like he's not just going to like make fire explode out of his hand in front of them because they both rot Shrek and probably run away.
Yeah, I was just making sure due to the
fact
that,
no, absolutely.
Yeah. Beast doesn't discriminate unless you have the call of the ascendant.
Soon I will. But he asked, Mr. Swindle, would you like to see a demonstration?
He gestures as if for you to do so.
He looks. He casts his eyes to the left and his eyes to the right, and he says, "Are we very much alone?" Actually, yeah, no. He's. You know what? I'm going to spirits touch the bridge, Bishop.
Mm-hmm.
I get to ask the bridge 2 questions. Where are the nearest pedestrians that are not us?
You feel a certain sense of emptiness from Real Beast. You don't think there are currently any pedestrians along the bridge.
Okay. He hops down from where he is sitting. And, yeah. So I just actually have to look up the rules for this because this is the first time I've actually rolled this. I know it's a weird set of rules. I know that my particular thing does fit into it. I just need to check. I think I have my blood potency to this roll because of the Coil of Zenitra, but I'll check.
Yeah, your foil messes with the rules of this check. I'm just going to double check all of it. So
I have Coil of Zenitra 4, so you can check the. You check that while I check the. Chronicles.
Yeah. You see. Okay. you spend a point of willpower? I'll check Secrets for Covenants real quick. Cause Anitra.
Because I know I don't suffer dramatic failure, which is nice.
Okay, so at level 4, you don't have to spend Vitae to activate your supernatural merit. However, it does require the expenditure of a willpower.
And I have to roll my resolve plus occult. My resolve is 3. My occult is...
You can ignore the limitations of willpower for the purposes of increasing the dice pool. You can also spend blood to increase the dice pool as well. So in theory, you can rack up some pretty insane bonuses through the use of this foil.
Yeah, he'll spend a blood point into it to try and give a good showing.
That's plus 2 additional dice.
Yeah.
Level 5, you can roll it as a rote action. Jesus. But yeah. The amount of successes you get will depend on, well, basically... So what happens with this is that you manifest it with a success, and then for every additional success, you can use it to... You can increase the size of it, or move it, or whatever. Keep in mind, the flame will not be obfuscated.
That's why he said. That's why he made sure that we were alone.
Fortunately, you are currently alone, so... But of course, a big enough fire may be able to draw people's attention.
Wow, that was a sad roll.
Ooh, you do not manifest the flame. That's unfortunate. Fortunately, you can just re-roll by spending the willpower.
Yeah, he'll do that. And I'll spend... this time I'm going to spend 2 more blood.
Oh, how much blood are you going to be on?
3.
Oh, you're going to be pretty hungry.
He will indeed need the slurp. And he is on 4 willpower. Okay, that's much better.
So you manifest a large... So you manifest quite a large flame. That's an exceptional success. So you manifest a flame that's large enough that it is... It's a ball of fire that is the size of a person, so it's very big.
Actually, what he's going to do? No.
Oh.
I'm trying to think what would he do, because yeah, no, he won't he'll do it out over the water, basically, so it'll hang suspended before he'll close his hand and basically cause it to vanish. You know, that kind of motif.
Oh, okay.
In theory, I was thinking, would he shape the flame? Because in theory, I could make it look like a fucking dragon if I wanted to, but then if that was caught on camera, we'd have a masquerade breach, whereas it's just a little ball, it's just a ball of fire, which will glimmer for a few seconds before,
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, the flame dances around quite elegantly, like a series of fireflies. He does take a step back. Doesn't appear like he's about to frenzy or anything, but yeah, he just takes a step back when fire begins to swirl around you, just to ensure his long coat doesn't get caught in the fire.
Very casually, Alexander will turn back and he will say, "It is within my ability, or rather, it will soon, with the right resources, be in my ability to make it so that there will be other individuals whom are capable of manifesting that. Now, that was just me showing you a little bit of, shall we say, sleight of hand. Had I wanted to, that flame could have engulfed a number of individuals. And I assure you,
Impressive.
that is pure fire, unlike what it is the sanctified claim to be able to do.
Well, no, I very much trust that it was a real fire.
But that's not it. That's not the only thing. I can give people a, how would one phrase it? For the right price, I can give someone a Deva's ability to charm, a Ventru's ability to dominate, a Maket's ability to see. These are things that can be done. All for a price, of course, you understand.
What is it that you would like in exchange for these unique services?
As I've said, I am unfortunately lacking liquid assets. Your particular covenant are rather famed for your financial backing. Frankly, there are a number of things I desire, relatively minor for the covenant and for the Princeton. Payment in monetary terms, for a start. I would also like one or two small personal concessions. Intercedents with my particular covenant. As you pointed out, we are such good friends, and I require a ladder to ascend. Ultimately, my abilities to alter and do as I do are limited by what I am able to learn. And the fact of the matter is that you might hold the keys to that. Oh, and one last small personal concession. As I don't believe it's currently held within Invictus territory, I want the rights to feeding grounds located in... What was the name of the cemetery I really wanted?
Wandsworth Cemetery?
That's the one.
So if I could just have a list of what Hartwell is asking for.
He's asking for basically money. He needs cash.
Cemetery, cash, monies, and so feeding grounds, cash, monies. Anything else?
Basically, them to big him up to the order to basically go, we like this guy. You want to give him promotions. Basically, the political backing, ostensibly.
Yeah.
What I will require, he raises a finger, in order for this to function. I will require medical facilities, state of the art for preference, to be built in a very specific location of my choosing, more than likely within the Invictus territories, as the type of pseudo psychosurgery that I would be conducting requires a place of power, as we would understand it. I'm sure it is that you've heard my kind prattle on about them before in the past. He smiles. I don't even necessarily want the place for myself, this particular, we would call it a worm's nest. I have no doubt that there's at least one or two occupying Invictus territory, but I need it to perform these type of surgeries in order to instill these abilities within individuals, you understand?
So these particular services would need to be performed at Ordo Dracul sites.
Quite so.
Okay.
There is also one or two other small pieces of information, or rather, there's one last piece of value that I have for you, or one last piece of information of value I have for you. Now, Mr. What was his name? Swindle or Sweedle? Sweedle. Mr. Sweedle. He smiles. I take it you're aware of a drug named Violet.
I was aware of a drug named Violet.
Why is it you use the past tense?
The producer of such a substance, I am to understand, has met a rather grisly end.
Whatever he was producing, he was a hack. He smiles. He will then, he contemplates for a few moments and he says, if the Invictus desire it, I can provide them something far more potent and addictive than Violet ever was. I've been working on the chemical composition. I'm going to call it Crimson.
I suppose we can discuss that when such a substance can be provided.
Quite so.
As for your other requests, we can provide you with the resources for your services and entitled to treat with separate individuals and covenants that I am. You'll be provided with Wandsworth as a feeding, Wandsworth Cemetery as a feeding ground to use at your leisure. And of course, our public backing.
Wonderful.
Medical facilities, well, given that your services must be performed at specific Ordo facilities.
No, not inherently correct. They must be performed at specific sites. They do not need to take place within Order Dracul territory. I am perfectly capable of finding such a site within the Invictus-held domains, if you would rather it be conducted there. These places of power are naturally occurring. However, they are vital for the necessary transmutation to work. But it is up to you on how closely you wish to work with my organization as a general whole.
I'll roll you a dice to see if there is a location within Victor's territory that is not dangerous in some form or another, because most of them generally are, and they have to clear them out before they use them.
I mean, he's not above going and clearing one out if they want to give him a hunter-kill team or something. What dice should I roll?
Oh no, I just rolled a dice to see if there was one, and well, lucky you, there is. So you are aware of one that you can use that is not immediately dangerous. That is simply a conflux of spiritual power, perhaps a locus of some sort. That doesn't appear to have. If it did have any residents, those residents have since left behind, and this is the remnants. It would not be a particularly strong worm's nest in any capacity. It would be a single dot, but that is entirely sufficient for your needs.
He'll flick out his phone. He'll flick out a burner phone, like one of those really cheap, like 80-pound smartphones, and he'll hand it to Sweedle, and he'll say, "This is the location. Acquire it for me and see that it is stocked with the necessary medical supplies. There's a list connected to the phone, and I will begin my work. It will take me some months to perfect the procedure in question, but frankly, Mr. Sweedle, there are running clashes every evening, as I'm sure you well know. I don't think that I will lack for test subjects."
I highly doubt it.
With any luck, I should be able to, as I say, get this procedure perfected within the next 2 months. and then I will be able to produce you the necessary individuals.
Of course. You'll ensure that the facility is well stocked for your particular needs. But if that is all,
It has been a pleasure to do business with you, Mr. Oh! I do have a piece of information for you. Information now, not a good or service. Bishop,
nice.
so it is in my blue booking, but obviously you haven't seen it, my new blue booking. I was curious, was status occult 3 enough to identify the glyph that was burned into my hand by the doorknob?
You'll find your efforts to identify the glyph quite suspiciously difficult. It's certainly not publicly available when dealing with more fringe cults and occult circles that deal more in the real deal. You believe that some individuals either know or have an idea of what you're talking about, but are not being forward with you. And when you go back to, and when you press them on the matter or you return to them, they are either unavailable for comments or simply do not possess the knowledge to help you.
He smiles before he'll say, London Museum. Somebody has been doing particularly potent mystical works there. I'm not exactly sure, but I believe that it is, well, something that perhaps your covenant may be interested in looking into / quashing, as I think it will more than likely be weaponized and used against you.
Thank you for informing us, Mr. Hartwell. Actually, he'll say Dr. Hartwell because you're a doctor. Thank you for informing us, Dr. Hartwell will put someone out there to investigate the issue. I am no expert. I would suspect it to be sanctified, given that it is their territory. If so, given their unwarranted aggression upon both our organizations, we would see to it that such works are put to rest.
Perhaps a joint operation. There were several items within that museum that my covenant would be absolutely giddy to get their hands on, and it would deal a great blow to your enemy. Something for the future, perhaps.
For the future.
Quite so. He smiles as he kind of. By the way, Bishop, because I've healed the damage. Can I ask for a favor? Can that mark, because it was really weird and mystical, can that be burned onto my hand?
Aggravated wounds don't always heal properly, so it can, in theory, scar, particularly if you want it to.
Yeah. Because he's gonna kind of flex the hand that has the burn on it, like motherfucking sons of bitches.
1 second, I will see if I can find you the image.
It's a Nokian, isn't it? Glares in angelic.
1 second. Yep, it is. It is. I actually need to save it, and I need to put it up for you. Whoops. I've messed up. Well, whoopsie daisy.
That's a whoopsie daisy.
Awesome. Okay. And I'll do that. Sorry, this is taking a quick moment because I didn't have it saved.
It's fine, take your time.
There we go. And I will just copy that and put it into I'll PM it to you. Actually, no, I'll just put it on the bloody thing.
You have that
I'll
power.
just do that in the first place. Yeah, I'd actually have that power. I have the power. I would have made this a lot faster. Oh, it's not working.
Well done, Bishop.
Okay, 1 second. I think I can make this work. God damn it! I refuse to give up. All right, 1 second. All this effort for a faulty bloody. All right. That's okay. It is this symbol. So it looks
neat.
Yeah, a little bit like a fork.
Neat. All right. Yeah, he will shake Dr. Sweet, or he'll shake Mr. Sweetle's hand again. Be like, nice to meet you.
We will shake your hand, your scarred hand, and so it was a pleasure doing business with you, Mr. Harwell.
I always enjoy good business.
Makes the world go round.
I am curious. He actually turns to go before his head flicks to the side. He goes, I am curious. How does one phrase this politely? Are you currently winning?
He smiles. His rather ragged null teeth showing in their full splendor. Quite handedly.
Wonderful. I always hate to back the wrong horse. Good evening, Mr. Sweetle.
Evening, Dr. Hardwell. And he will begin to turn and walk away. Quite satisfied with his answer to that question.
Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another scene in Vampire the Requiem. I'm London. Bye.